This is my first video, just a small setup on a apartment patio, aquaculture, utilizing the tanks and the fish water to fertilize my plants. I've had this setup going now for about 2.5 months. See how the water is dripped through on the PVC, dripping into each one of the plants. Now these plants are just potted with regular potting soil. All I'm doing is letting the water just filter through the plants themselves and then drain back into the holding sediment tank. Next year I'll probably change over to some type of hydroponic medium, but this year I just took the cheap route and went with potting soil. I've had an awful lot of success with growth, not very much success with fruiting though. Seems that my pollination is way down due to the lack of bees. If any of the viewers have any good recommendations, feel free to send me an email or comment on it and give me some ideas on what might be the best way to get my tomato plants to get fired up. As you can see, they're almost to the top of the roof as far as height is concerned. The purpose of the two tanks, as you can see, the first one is the return tank where the water is being filtered through. I'm using the first return line right here to regulate the pressure on the drip so that I can keep a steady flow without getting the holes clogged up. If you've got the water running continuously through while you're running, then the pressure will keep the sediment from collecting around the holes drilled for the drip system, keeping them clean because you got more pressure feeding back into the tank. You can also regulate how hard the water comes out. I use the duct tape on the lines themselves, as you can see, for regulating, basically just pricking pinholes for specific ones. You can see there with the basil that I'm not using a tremendous amount of pressure on those, but then right next to it you can see my cucumbers with some transplanted prigs of sweet potatoes. They look kind of pitiful right now, but in a few days those will be picked back up again. They're quite hardy. But it's quite inexpensive. I did not glue any of the fittings together so I can take it down. Being an apartment dweller, I have to be in a position where nothing is permanent and easily moved around. I had to turn the air conditioning off so it won't be so noisy. But anyway, in this first tank, I've got shiners, I've got brim. I'll show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, got plenty of fish. They're hardy. Basically just feeding them fish food. The water goes in. That's the settlement tank. And then I've got an automatic level that keeps the water up high in that tank. At the same token, it runs off into another holding tank, which is where the pump is. And on this pump, This particular tank here, I have crawfish in it. When I do any trimmings, I take out the plant material off of any of the plants. I'll take it and submerge it in the water, and then the crawfish eat it. In turn, you're taking and basically doing an aqua compost. It keeps the plant matter down. It also turns your plant matter back into fertilizer. Turn around and feed your plants. Here again, everything is plumbed in a way where the water is just cycling back through. I've got overflows on some of the tanks. You can see on this particular one where I've drilled a hole through the pot so that if I do get too much water into the plant, it'll overflow and run back into my plastic container. Therefore, then it drains back down, runs over, as you can see, and goes back into my system where it all drains back into the tank running from the overflows. This is my drain line, which it runs directly out of the plumbed in plastic containers. Now those basically are nothing but just 1/2-inch PVC with end caps. I hot glued the end caps into the plastic containers. Drilled my drain holes. I've got 4 small drain holes at the bottom of the cap and 1 large drain hole at the top in case water gets too high. Outside of that, like I said, it's relatively inexpensive. None of the parts are glued. I don't have any problem with leakage. The only thing that's glued in is the drain plugs in each one of the plastic containers. Everything else can be moved around so that if I want to expand or change anything in just a matter of a few minutes, it has no issues. I'd love to have anyone with any comments how I may be able to improve the situation. Drop me a line, give me some information on how to help pollinate. You can see my cucumbers are running all over the place. Well, these are miniature cucumbers for pickling and canning. Not having a lot of success as far as pollination. I've got my basil, got my sweet potatoes, got a couple of pepper plants in there with them. But thank you for checking it out. This is my first video, and I hope that I'll give you some updates on other issues.